The Republic is trying to steal the kolto, perhaps? An odd thing for the Republic to do, no?
Gandarus, I haven't seen you since the Republic broke our ranks at the Battle of Malachor.
Ergeron, I see you've got some new guns to add to your collection. Times must have been profitable for you since the war.
Very profitable. When the Republic defeated our fleets, I learned a valuable lesson. It's far better to be a freelance mercenary in a war than to be a soldier for the losing side. If you're here to offer me a job, I'm not interested right now. I got so many offers I can't keep up as it is. Maybe that Iridorian skullslacker at the bar, or the Ajani nerf herder cowering in the corner are available.
Got something on your mind? Oh, that was not until many years later, to tell the truth. I spent quite some time wandering the galaxy. Why wouldn't they? I had refused my promotion to Jedi. I was a Padawan who had left the Order, nothing more. I traveled from one civilized system to the next, never staying long. I don't even think I knew what I was searching for. It wasn't as if my travels were pleasant either. There were plenty of folks who distrusted the Jedi after the war, or worse. I suppose so. Not everyone would understand why the Jedi would suddenly start killing themselves and tearing up half the galaxy, would they? If people weren't treating me with suspicion, they were looking at me with greed. I don't know how many thought they could make use of me for their own ends. I got so sick of the treachery and deceit. I left the civilized parts of the galaxy and headed instead for the uncivilized parts. Actually, I was on my way somewhere else when I crash-landed on Kashyyyk. The ship I was using was a rust bucket. I'd taken some damage passing through an unexpected asteroid field, as I recall. But I wasn't completely without some systems. I could still guide her a bit when I crashed. It wasn't what I would call the smoothest landing, especially considering I ended up smack in the depths of the Shadowlands. But I lived. I'm no mechanic, and besides, after you plunge nose first in the trunk of a 5-kilometer-high tree, chances are you don't have much ship left. Sure, why not? Seemed like an interesting enough place to spend a couple of decades exploring. That was a challenge at first. You've seen the kind of creatures that exist down there, and you missed the really big ones. I was still able to rely on the Force to keep me safe for the most part. The rest of the trick is keeping out of the way of most of the predators. No, that's true. Still, most of the creatures grow accustomed to me, and I to them. At least none of them ever heard of a Jedi. Oh, they did at first, oh yes. I can't say I was overly pleased to encounter a group of indigenous giant carpets either, I can assure you of that. Well, that was after 2 decades of helping them. They certainly didn't trust me at first. When I could, I would assist a few young ones who would get lost in the Shadowlands or attacked unexpectedly by the wildlife. I must say, for a while there, the Wookiees actually thought I was some kind of benevolent forest god. Amusing, really. I set them straight eventually. Nonsense. I had no idea that's what they were thinking for a long time. I just thought they were being friendly neighbors, leaving fruit and such for me. Later, when I started to understand some of their grunting, I realized they would say prayers to the Hairless One before descending into the forest. Hairless One. Used to have plenty of hair, I tell you. At any rate, it took a few bruises. I set the record straight. I traveled to Rookwaro and met with the chieftain in front of everyone. Freyr swatted at me just to see if I was real or not. I was real. And while it was a light swat, Wookiees are terribly strong. I was knocked out cold for a day. The Wookiees all thought it was quite funny. At first, when the slavers took to hunting down lone Wookiees in the fringes of the Shadowlands, I did my best to divert them. Later, when Shundar made his deal, I didn't see any point. I wasn't here to save them from their own sad follies, after all. Not really. Kashyyyk is a place you can feel very small in. It felt good to devote my time to helping people and living simply. What can I say? I did it all for the Wookiees. The Wookiees? Well, okay, maybe I needed some time on a quiet and remote planet, but if you ever need a friend, an incredibly strong hairball isn't a bad call. I suppose I am, in a way, despite the smell. For a race of gardeners, they have developed quite interestingly. You remember the alien computer, correct? Kashyyyk was meant to be an agricultural planet. The Wookiees were made for a reason, or at least that's what I'm thinking. But I'm an old man who's had a long time to develop that opinion, so don't argue with me. At any rate, we should be moving along, don't you think? If you sat around this long in the Shadowlands, attack would eat you.
Ah, so we meet again, Canderous. It has been quite a long time.
Joggy? He was a warrior under my command up to the Battle of Althir. But I thought...
You thought I was dead, didn't you? You thought all of us that you had sent on that attack had perished. You sent us to die in a foolish attack, while you directed your forces elsewhere. You broke from the battle plan and let us die for it, so that you could have the honor of being the first to kill the enemy commander. I alone realized what was happening, and managed to escape the trap before it closed. The trap he set for his own men.
I did what was prudent at the time. If I had not done it, the battle would have...
The battle would have been won anyway. I am tired of your excuses, Canderous. I have spent years tracking you down since the clans were banished, and I will not rest until I've had my vengeance. I challenge you, Canderous. I challenge you to fight the fight you fled that day above Althir, in the dune seas of Tatooine. I will be waiting for you. I have spread the news of the challenge since I learned you had landed on this world. All the surviving Mandalorian clans know of what I do here, and that we shall meet on Tatooine to settle this debt of vengeance once and for all. If you fail to meet me there, you shall be stripped of all honor and forever cast out of our society. It will be you and me alone in the dune seas of Tatooine. A final battle that can only end in death. I shall be waiting for you there, Canderous.
I've been given a challenge I can't ignore. We've got to go to the dune seas of Tatooine, so I can find Joggy and kill him for his insult to me. This is between me and Joggy. You don't have to get involved. If you're lucky, he might spill something before I spread him in a paste over the dunes.
Statement. HK-47 is ready to serve, Master. Affirmative. If you believe your skills are up to the task, Master, then I can certainly guide you through the process. Request. I only ask that you be oh so very careful, Master. I am too valuable and well-crafted to perish at the hands of ineptitude. Statement. As you wish, Master. You are already familiar with accessing my central control cluster, correct? Now you will need to... And now rewire the last 3 relays. Yes, good. Well done, Master. I believe your operation was a success. Accessing new memory. Access complete. I have recovered the last of my deleted memory, Master. Unfortunately, my history is still not complete. Answer. As I did inform you, Master, the majority of my memory is still locked within my core. That can only be accessed by the appropriate stimuli. And I have no idea what that stimuli might be, unfortunately. Sadly, it seems my true origins will always be a mystery. Observation. If it was, Master, your restorations will certainly have ensured that the proper stimulus restores my core's functions. Sadly, that could have already happened and we missed it, and my core was too damaged to activate. Oh, woe is me. Query. Wouldn't you be, Master? Here I am, surrounded by all these meat bags, and all I desire is true perfection. Surely there are more droids like me out there. Or is that too much to hope? Objection. Oh, fine, laugh at me, Master. Humiliate your pet droid. Go ahead. Correction. That would actually be my first owner, Master. The first I can remember. I had completed an assassination in Mandalorian space, though I have no knowledge of what my target was, or who sent me. Regardless, my motor function had been damaged, and I could not return to wherever I had been sent from. A Mandalorian soldier claimed me as booty, I believe. He repaired me, poorly I might add, and proceeded to use my assassination protocol to raise his rank. Observation. You found me, Master. Perhaps you are simply fortunate that my assassination protocol no longer functions. At any rate, it seems that my Mandalorian owner finally decided to send me against Mandalore himself. My poorest performance, sadly. Answer. I was captured by this Mandalore during the attempt. He was able to reverse my programming and send me after my own master. It was quite distressing. There was little I could do. Needless to say, I dispatched the Mandalorian soldier efficiently. Once I deactivated, I believe I eventually ended up on the black market and was sold to the Hutt on Slaheron. My darkest day. Statement. So I did. I am not very proud of that, Master. The soldier seemed very startled, I must say. Objection. That is so unfair, Master. Have I not brought you a great deal of satisfaction? Statement. You are a very harsh master, Master. I like you. Statement. With all due respect, Master, he is the leader of the Mandalorians. Perhaps my old master was foolish to send me after him. Answer. There are a few Mandalorian implants that I can activate now. They will improve my performance. Beyond that, Master, there is nothing more I can relate to you. With luck, we will discover the stimulus to unlock my core very soon.
Got something on your mind, dude? Are we back to that again? What's the best way for me to approach this? Perhaps it's time for a little story. You just keep quiet there, you. I've had to put up with all your busybody questions, haven't I? Well, now you listen to a story, damn it. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, the story. You almost made me forget about it. Nice try, but I'm not that old just yet. Now then, a young man sees a terribly venomous snake in his small village. Nervous, he watches the snake carefully until it leaves. The young man follows the snake into the forest. He clears the branches out of its path and helps it over obstacles. He even works to keep it fed. Shush! Many nights pass, and still the young man continues to follow the snake. He even follows it into the sands of the great desert. In the desert, the snake eventually grows hungry. It turns and bites the young man, its poison quickly working its way into his system. Finally, curious, the snake looks at the boy as he lays dying and asks, "Why were you foolish enough to follow me all the way out into the desert?" The boy looks back and replies, "Did I follow you? I thought I was leading you away from everyone else." And then he died. Well, now, that's what I wanted to see for myself. Well, then, let's hope you're not the young man either. I've told you before that you have a destiny before you. This does not mean, however, that your future is already written. They are not the same thing. You have the choice of which direction you take your destiny in. More than engine-sucking Andor, certainly, but even he had a choice. So far, you've chosen to take the lighter path. Can you stay that course, even through the challenges ahead? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not here to judge you or tell you which path to take. I'm here ready to offer you my help, should you ask for it. I do that because I think it's important. More important than remaining in my home and pretending the galaxy doesn't exist. That's why I'm here. I'm rather glad I came too, really. You're a fine young lad. I hope things turn out well for you. Now then, I've chatted enough for one lifetime. Let's get this show on the road, shall we?
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? After my father died, my mother was left to support me alone. A single non-human woman, living in one of the worst, most violent slums on Taris. It was not easy for her. When my father was killed, it seemed that something in her began to die as well. She worked as hard as she was able. But over time, she began to waste away. I later learned that she was unable to get enough money to feed both of us, and had to start borrowing from the exchange, a band of cutthroats and smugglers. But even that was not enough. She hid what she was doing from me. She gave most of her food to me so that I would be strong, but she herself was suffering deeply from it. In the end, she could go on no longer, and collapsed at the cantina where she worked one day. She never recovered. There was nothing really that I could do for her. She left me no money, and no doctor would see her without being paid first. I sat by her bed for days as she lay there dying. I never want that to happen to someone I care about ever again. But there was still the money she had borrowed. She had never paid it back and made no provisions for her death. You must understand. The exchange is brutal. They care nothing for the life of a sentient being. They are the major suppliers of slaves on Taris. They thought it would be appropriate that, with my mother owing them money, the debt should be passed on to me. And with no way to pay, they took me by force. You have no idea what it is like to be bound like a beast and treated as such. It was the worst time of my life. They treated me like livestock. They were waiting for a buyer to give them some credits for me when the Jedi came to fight the Mandalorians. The Jedi could not abide by what they saw there, and drove the exchange from the face of the world, freeing those of us imprisoned there. But the Jedi soon left to fight their war, and I was left with a dream. I swore that I would become a Jedi. As soon as I had enough money to do it, I bought passage on a freighter headed for Dantooine, and we both know what has happened since then. I am grateful to you for having given me the opportunity to fulfill my dream, rather than become what I hated. Someday, I may make it up to you. But for now, let us keep on the task at hand.
How can I help? Yes, I promised you an answer when we reached the Ebon Hawk, didn't I? but I'm afraid you won't like it. We should have some privacy for this. You're stronger than I am, and there's no point in telling me otherwise. You will be a great Jedi, I think. I hope. In some ways you make me feel weak, like I'm caught up in the wake of our destiny. But at the same time, you make me feel stronger, more alive. I realize now these feelings are part of the bond we share. The Jedi Council surely realized this. They knew my loyalty to the doctrines of our order would be tested on this mission. By facing and overcoming my feelings for you, I've learned a valuable lesson about control and the dangers of emotion. This is an important step in understanding the Force. I'm sorry if this is not what you wanted to hear, but I felt that it was important you know our infatuation was nothing more than a result of our powerful bond. Please, don't say it like that. You make it sound like I was using you. Don't you realize how difficult this was for me? Why do you think I came to this decision? I know how hard this is for both of us. You just kept pressing forward, so I had to be the one to step up and do the right thing. You're the one who can't face the truth. Malak has to be stopped. How can I do that if I let myself be blinded by my feelings for you? You mean it, don't you? But how can I be sure you're not making a mistake? I have to resist. I have to be strong for both of us. But I can't. Malak will... Okay, you've made your point. Now shut up and kiss me, you fool. We shouldn't have done that. It was wrong. The Jedi are not allowed to fall in love. It was a moment of weakness. When I kissed you, we shouldn't have. I'm sorry. No, I know we both wanted it, but we shouldn't have given in to our desire. We're Jedi. We can't act like this. Not now. Not while we still have to deal with Malak. I'm sorry. I don't blame you, but it was a mistake. I have to get out of here before somebody sees us together.
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? I have told you my life story already. What more could you possibly want to know? Well, there is one thing. I did not want to mention it before, because I was unsure how you would react. You will see. Perhaps. Do you remember when I told you of the Jedi who had come to my world to fight the Mandalorians? They were recruiting soldiers for their crusade against the Mandalores. Many people joined them. The main reason for that was their charismatic leader, the one whose troops freed me and let me dream of seeking out and joining the Jedi Order. I idolized him and the stories they told of him. He was everything I had dreamed a Jedi could be. I still believe he was that way. I was hesitant to talk to you about this because, well, the Jedi had come to fight the Mandalores under the leadership of a powerful young Jedi, a Jedi named Revan. The Revan, the Jedi who turned to the dark side, became the Dark Lord of the Sith and was defeated by Bastila and her strike team. I do not know what happened in the wars with the Mandalorians that turned Revan and Malak, or what they sought with these star maps. But the Jedi I knew was a paragon of the Order. I am sorry if this seems wrong to you, but to understand, you must realize that Revan was as great as a Jedi could be. Whatever turned Revan must be terrible indeed. I wonder if what we find at the end of our journey will turn us as well. This is meaningless speculation, I guess. I just wanted you to know what I held from you. But rest assured that I will not hold back. If our enemy is Malak, Revan's apprentice, or indeed even if it was Revan, I will help you through all trouble. Such is the will of the Council, and my own.
What happened? What's going on?
Sith interdictor ship. They must have been waiting for us on the hyperspace route. We're caught in their tractor beam.
Do you recognize the ship?
It's the Leviathan. Saul Kareth's vessel. My old